one final game that I'm going to talk about. We're back on the PS5 again, and but it's not a PS5 game. It's a blast from the past because this is a game from the PS2 era that has been just added to the. I know it's just been added to the classics catalog on PS Plus. I loved playing it back in the day, although I played it on the GameCube. That is Timesplitters 2.
Oh, what a game!
Yeah,
what a great game.
Yeah. Timesplitters 1, 2, and 3, also known as Future Perfect. They've just been added to the catalogue. You could also buy them individually on the PlayStation Store, but it was cheaper for me to upgrade my PS Plus subscription to include the classics catalogue than just buy one of them individually. So I thought I'd do that and enjoy some retro gaming until my subscription expires in a month's time or however long I bought it for. I didn't play the first Timesplitters game when it came out, but I played a lot of Timesplitters 2, which was my very first taste of dual stick controls for first-person gaming. And it's a control setup that literally took me 20 years to click in my brain. So it was nice to return to this game feeling like I was in control of it rather than just sort of like muddling my way through it. Me and my friend Alec at school, who I mentioned the other week as my Super Monkey Ball compatriot and rival, we played a lot of Timesplitters 2 together. I don't think we ever actually touched like doing the multiplayer versus stuff, but we did play the game in co-op, which I absolutely loved. We'd often then take it in turns to get the medals for the different challenges in the game, we also did that with Star Wars Rogue Leader as well. It was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The main campaign of Timesplitters 2 is actually quite short. I probably completed it in about 2 hours. But then there's so much replayability in the game with different difficulties to master. There's secrets to find and unlock. There's challenges. There's now achievements added in to these versions of the game. But like when a campaign is this good, when it's this varied and tight, you don't mind its short runtime. And it comes back a bit to what you were saying last month about how modern games seem to live or die on their potential to entertain indefinitely, because Call of Duty games that come out yearly usually only have like a 4 or 5 hour long single player campaign, and they are brutally lambasted for that, which I think is very unfair. Like if they're boring and shit to play, lambast them for that, sure, but not for their length. If the quality's there. And it is also not the reason why 99% of people buy those games.
No.
Although I don't buy the games at all. So what do I know? Back to Timesplitters 2. Timesplitters 2 follows the formula of the first game, which sees your main character hunting down time crystals and hunting down time splitters who are systematically disrupting human history by travelling through time. Each level then takes place in a wildly different time period and location, which means each of the levels feel totally different to each other. Timesplitters 2 starts in 1990s Siberia, which is a clear nod to the opening of GoldenEye. The developers Free Radical were formed out of ex-devs of GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, the N64 games. But then after that level, you're off to Chicago in the 1930s, and then Notre Dame Cathedral in the 1890s, Planet X in the year 2280, the Wild West, Aztec ruins, a robot factory, and even Neo Tokyo in the far-flung futuristic year 2019.
The perspective sci-fi of kind of the early 2000s and late 90s especially, people really thought we were going to make some big fucking jumps.
There was a program in like the 60s called Space 1999.
Yeah.
And that's funny to watch.
Yeah.
Each of the levels in Timesplitters 2 are just such perfect cinematic vignettes. Like they all have a distinct flavour thanks to having era-appropriate weaponry, a brilliant varied soundtrack. They've all got just great dramatically tense stories. They always ramp up well and make for a great climactic rush to every level. Like I frequently felt like my heart pounding because every level just seemed to just like have such great momentum.
Yeah,
it's all brought to life by a really brilliant art design that it is so distinctive even today. If you look at a screenshot from a Timesplitters game, it still looks unlike anything else, and it means it holds up brilliantly too, because they absolutely doubled down and went, this is how we want the game to look, and it looks fantastic. They have made a start on Future Perfect, which opens with much more ambitious level, seeing you playing as part of a squadron trying to clean up the mess left by the end of Timesplitters 2. I think after that, it appears to be following in the traditional Timesplitters formula soon after, so it's not gone down a suddenly self-serious route. Speaking of which, the Timesplitters games are another example of a contemporary of Halo that totally blows it out of the water. Like, these Timesplitters games, they are just continually fun to play. They've got much more tightly orchestrated dramatic campaigns, much more style, much more fun. They hold up much better today too. Like, if I'm going to return to a first-person game that's over 20 years old, the choices to me are pretty slight, but also very clear. I'm either playing Half-Life or I'm playing Timesplitters 2.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, they are so much more fun than anything else. Also, isn't it so disappointing that there isn't a Timesplitters 4?
Oh, it's savagely disappointing. Over the
Like,
years,
it's a
every
formula.
time there's been so many like half, almost full starts, and Free Radical was still going, and then they weren't. Then they got bought by Crytek, and then I don't even know if they exist there anymore. And every once in a while, there's just like a little whisper on the wind that something might be coming, and then it's always snatched
It's
away.
so good. It's a formula that would work so well.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how amazing these different levels could be with all of like the modern tech available. That
On
you
the PS5 Pro.
Yeah. It would basically it would play like you're basically playing like a level from 20 different AAA games.
Yeah.
And obviously they'd include multiplayer, deathmatch, battle royale, season passes galore to keep the children happy. But if we got like an 8 to 10 hour campaign, I would pay full price just for that experience.
I would.
And it would be great. They could even have a level which sends you back to like 2005, where you have to go and fight off the people who can Free Radical. I'd love that.